Join me, Bex, as I look at my 2023 goals and whether we reach them or not. Winter has broken me entirely this year, and also we trial Buck Off Karma. So on to the 2023 goals. There are vlogs about all the main ones that I talk about here if you are interested, if you look back. Okay, firstly, Happy New Year. So thanks to all of you who've been watching and following for the last year and slightly longer. And yeah, I just wanted to go through the 2023 goals that I had written down. So I'm going to try and crack through these as quickly as possible. So the first one was joining MCI and qualifying for the Nationals. So MCI is the Iberian Dressage League. We did do that. We went and got qualifying scores, but they weren't great scores. They were just over the kind of qualifying level. And I stopped going. I didn't enjoy the venue. It was very kind of stressful and tense for him. A lot of distractions in the warm-up and things like that, and in the end I just stopped going because it was costing me quite a lot of money. It was midweek, so it was hard to get anyone to come with me, and I just wasn't enjoying it, and neither was he, and I didn't really feel like it was a very positive experience, so we stopped doing that. Yeah, the next thing that I have on my list is the Windsor traditional tack class. So this is one thing that was massively my highlight of the year, I would say. I wasn't sure whether we were even going to get to Windsor, and then it rained and my field was like boggy, and you know, I haven't got anywhere with hard standing to wash him off. But anyway, they offered me a stable at the last minute. So I was like, right, okay, I'm going to take him and we'll just see what happens. And I never even, I wasn't sure if I was even going to get in the ring, but he was so good. He did all of it. We got in there and he was a good boy and I didn't fall off. He behaved. We got a couple of wrong canter leads. But other than that, I was very happy with him. So Windsor was, yeah, definitely a big highlight of the year for us. Then I've got on here do a camp. So I did do a camp in the spring. Unfortunately, when I got there, this weird nerve thing in my arm flared up and I ended up going to A&E. So the camp was a bit of a disaster because I didn't actually get to do the lesson on the second day. Or really make use of the facilities because I was in absolute agony, and that kind of set the tone for the rest of spring and early summer because it took a long time to get the right drugs from the NHS to calm it all down, and at one point I couldn't tack up, I couldn't lift anything. When it was at its worst, I couldn't even lift a pint of water to drink, so it really ruined my plans for the early part of the summer. So that was unfortunate. So yeah, we did go to GB Prix, which did go well. So I was very pleased with that. We got reserve champion for home produced, which I was really proud of. And we also went to the Iberian Performance Show. We went to the spring show, which was a bit of a disaster because we had a stallion in the warm-up next to us, and while we were trying to do our dressage to music, and I couldn't hear the speakers either because it was so loud with the wind, I couldn't hear the music. So that was a bit of a disaster, and then he pulled a shoe off straight after the class, so I didn't even get to do my other classes. But it was a bit different story for the summer Iberian Performance Show. So we went to that. We debuted our new medium level freestyle music, which I put together myself. It went okay. The judge was scathing, but he was quite relaxed and did a nice test, and everything happened when it should have done and was accurate. So I was really pleased with him for that. But the big thing at IPS was that we won the traditional tack and turnout class for the Spanish section, and we also won the Spanish section for the parade class in the evening, which I was so happy about because I was really, really worried about going in riding with no proper hat on in a Spanish hat, and in quite new tack as well that we haven't ridden in very much. But he was really good, he dealt with it well, and I was really proud of him. So showing wise, we had a good year, we did a couple of other smaller shows as well, and he was good. I felt like that was really a positive experience. So the next thing on my list is loading Estrella. So Estrella is my 2.5-year-old homebred. I had planned to take her out in the summer and get her to an in-hand show or clinic, She hasn't ever loaded before, and the plan was to get the lorry into the field to practice loading her. Unfortunately, it never happened. A, because it was so wet this summer that my field was too boggy to actually get the lorry in safely and, you know, not get bogged down. And I can't load where I load Elf because it's by the side of a road. So for an older established horse, it's fine, but not when you're trying to teach a yearling or a 2-year-old. Yeah, and then obviously I had this arm issue with my nerve, and I couldn't, trying to deal with a youngster that might be leaping around when your arm isn't working properly obviously isn't safe. So for that reason, that's gone, by the wayside, unfortunately. But I have got a lovely new lady that's helping me with Estrella at the moment with some natural horsemanship stuff, and it's going really well. We've done 3 sessions, so I'm going to start doing some vlogs about that. And yeah, that's going really well. So hopefully this year will be her year to start doing some things. The next thing on my list is taking Attia and Sophie to their first dressage competition. Sophie's first dressage competition. She wanted to do an intro test. Unfortunately, that also didn't happen. The main reason for that was because Attia kept getting really awful abscesses because of the very changeable wet and then dry and wet and dry weather that we had. Her poor thoroughbred feet don't cope well with it, and she kept getting abscesses. So she spent quite a lot of the summer lame on and off, or brewing an abscess, not quite right. And then Sophie is no longer coming and riding, so that's not happened and won't happen now. I did offer her to take Elf instead, but she wasn't happy to ride him. He can be quite sharp, so that's fine. And then the last thing on my list is sussing flying changes. So this did not happen either. We did manage to do a few in our lesson. We did one with Freddie when he came over from Portugal to teach us. But yeah, that was kind of a bit of a weird exercise, and not, I think kind of rushing him a bit. And then the other flying changes that we did manage to do were over poles with Amber, kind of more of a jumping type exercise. We did a few like that, but I just feel like his canter isn't good enough yet, and the balance isn't there. And because we've had such a stop-start year and his schooling just hasn't gone how I wanted it to because of the wet weather, I had everything against me this year, like my health issues, the field being boggy, not being able to ride in the field, not having the money to be able to box out and have lessons as often as I need to. And yeah, it's just felt a bit of an uphill battle really. And I also do feel, I don't want to be negative, but I just feel a little bit like we've had some quite harsh judging or harsh results that we should have done better really. And it's knocked my confidence a little bit. I wonder sometimes whether it's my size. Sometimes I think people just see you ride in and they're like, I don't fit the stereotypical dressage look. So I think sometimes there's a little bit of bias because of that. I know he's had issues with contact. We are getting there with that, thankfully, because of the new bit, which thank you to Equine Bitting Solutions. That was one of the best things we did this year as well. Getting a bit sorted that he actually likes. So we are going in the right direction with that. But I think in terms of going out competing, we've just had some really miserable people that have really made it not very fun, which is a shame. And it's not just me that said that. There's been friends of mine in the same class that have been like, whoa, God, that's way lower than I normally get for that same test, or, so it doesn't really help your confidence. And, it is a massive uphill battle doing anything when you haven't got the facilities. So, yeah, it leaves me in a bit of two minds competition-wise this year, what I'm going to do. At the moment, I'm not even riding because my field is so flooded and he's lost a shoe. So, yeah, I'll cover that in Mud Wars, which is the next part of the vlog. But anyway, so I'm not sure really how I feel about competitions and what I'm going to aim for this year. But yeah, probably not a lot. I don't think money's going to be particularly flush this year, so it's going to be a case of just doing dribs and drabs as and when I can afford it. And I definitely won't be doing Windsor or anything like that, but I will probably do the Iberian Performance Show. We'll just see how it goes money-wise. But anyway, yeah, so that is a kind of recap of 2023. So I'm going to do a list for 2024 of things I would like to achieve, and yeah, see where we get to. Anyway, let's move on to Mud Wars.
I'm sure we're all in the same boat if you're in the UK, but this was the week that broke me.
Oh, so yeah, sorry, my hand's a bit shaky. I have literally spent the last hour shoveling mud, poo and hay, because it actually is easier to shovel it when it's really sodden. Although it's heavier because it's wet, I can actually get the shovel underneath and you can almost like scrape it along and off the edges. So that has helped. So yeah, while it's wet, I thought I'd do that. Here you go, there's like a massive, it doesn't look very big, but it's a massive pile of mud there. So these have been buried pretty much since last winter, and I've got some carpet coming because my tenant's house needed recarpeting doing after some leak damage, and it's all cost a fortune, and I was like, do you know what, I'm going to reuse the old carpet, at least I can get some benefit out of a crap situation. So yeah, it's got some big bits of carpet. I'm hoping they're going to be able to chuck them over the fence from the road so that I can just put them straight on here, because my back is done in now after doing all of this. But yeah, hopefully it will be able to come over here, and then I can get the carpet down, and it will make it less slippery, because when they all fight over their feed buckets, as they do in the winter, because they're all just pissed off as well, aren't they? I mean, we're all pissed off. I've just had enough of all this wet, it's horrendous, but I'm sure we're all in the same boat if you're watching from the UK. And yeah, so hopefully the carpet will stop them getting so dirty again, and it will also be non-slippy, which is a very good thing especially when you've got one that's shod. So yeah, it's a bit annoying. I've got this one patch that's like sunk. I think where it's so wet, it's all just, you know, all the water's coming up through them from underneath, and they've just moved around a bit, even though I staggered them. But anyway, there we go. Let's see how we get on with it once the carpet's here.
After I scraped the mud mats off in the morning, I was meant to be having a lesson in the afternoon with Amber, and it was meant to be dry. Get ready for a mega strop.
Yet again, it's all bloody flooded. I mean, I just can't bear this water. It's really starting to get me down so much. Everything I try and plan and do, I get absolutely drenched. It's absolutely bloody dreadful. Had enough.
It was torrential.
Right, well that was a complete wasted journey. I got there and I can't see my horse's feet because I have got nowhere that isn't at least ankle deep in mud. Yeah, so he'd lost a shoe, so all I ended up doing was just lunging him quickly, just to give him a leg stretch really. And now I've got to try and get him through all of this water with a horse that absolutely hates water. So I'm just getting to the point, it's just dangerous doing all this by myself as well, because I haven't got anyone else around, you know, because he's probably going to try and leap through this. So I think I'm going to put him on a lunge line and hope for the best, and hope I don't get squashed in the process of him trying to get back in the field. But yeah, this is just horrendous. So anyway, I've got the farrier out on the 13th. There's just no point. Where are we now? 4th. I'm not going to hurry to try and get a shoe put back on, because I can't ride in the field, I can't load safely, I can't, you know, it's just ridiculous. So I'm just going to give him a week and a bit off and wait for the farrier. That's just how it's going to be. An enforced break, but probably maybe what we need. So anyway, joys of horses in the UK. Completely pointless exercise having them really, isn't it? But unless you are super rich and can afford to have an indoor school or whatever. Right, so I'm actually quite proud of Elf. I did put a lunge line on him, but he actually walked through this water at the end of the lunge line. I did have a stud muffin in my hand, I will admit, but he walked through it very sensibly, which is quite a relief actually. So I'm very proud of him for that. So yeah, I have trained him with water. He will go through it, but it's always a bit of he panics and rushes through because he hates it usually. But you were a good boy, weren't you? You walked through that water nicely. You did, yeah. So yeah, I'm not surprised he's lost a shoe, because this is the front of my shelter now, where I tack up. So it's just literally like a bog. He's not very keen about coming in here, are you? No, you're all soaking. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I feel bad. The facilities are rubbish, but anyway, I can't do anything about it. Right, I'm going to take his boots off, feed them all, and hopefully... Oh wow, look, now I've got a complete lake outside where I've cleaned all that off this morning. Excellent. Right. Wow, let's hope all your rugs are staying waterproof, hey?
Oh my word, that day was just hideous.
Yeah, so yesterday was just horrific. It's just so disappointing after all the effort it was to get him out of the field where he didn't want to come out through the puddles, and to get him loaded, and then discover when we got there was no shoe. It was just another kick in the guts with this awful weather. I do struggle to see things like missing shoes when it's like this, because everywhere is just so boggy and wet. There's nowhere that I can safely tie him up to check him for shoes. So yeah, that was quite annoying. But anyway, he had a little lunge. I didn't do too much because he didn't look 100% on that front with the shoe off. I expect he's probably, just a little bit footsore on it. So yeah, we are just going to take that time off now for the next few days. I think I've got about 9 days till the farrier comes. So I'm just going to use the time to try and sort out the yard, update the feed room and tack room, because it's all a complete mess, and I'm going to try and sort out the front of the shelter a bit where it's so boggy and flooded. I've got some old hay, and I've got some carpet which was meant to be delivered yesterday but they didn't bring it, so some old carpet that's come out of my tenant's house that I am going to reuse to put over the mud mats and put in the front of the shelter to try and just stop the water coming up so much. So that's my plan. Yeah, so we're going to have to just not ride for a while. I'm disappointed about that. I've tried really hard to keep him going through this winter, but it just gets to a point with the lack of facilities, and then I can't even load safely because of all the flooding in the driveway where the lorry has to be parked to load him. And by the side of the road, I mean, you will have seen in the video, I've got a huge puddle outside my yard and people just drive through it like idiots. People still fly through it at like 30-40 miles an hour, and this sheet of water just comes flying over the hedge into my parking area where I have, my car park outside the outside the gate. So, it's just got to a point, it's too much to deal with. And with my joint issues that get worse in the bad weather as well, it's just been really hard. So, yeah, anyway, I will still crack on with all my other jobs and do some groundwork. But, yeah, no riding for the next week or so. And I've also been trialling a product called Buck Off. So... I've seen it for ages. I was interested in it. I've had Elf on Hempine CBD, which I use for Attia, my thoroughbred, and it's great. It's really good for arthritis, and it is a good calmer. And it has definitely taken the edge off him a bit when he's not had enough exercise, and then I've taken him to somewhere like a clinic, and it's a bit much for him because he hasn't done anything for a few days, and he finds it quite exciting going out. So it has really helped with that, but it is on the FEI listed substances but not approved. So it's not a banned substance, it's a listed substance, which means it has a withdrawal period, which is about 2 weeks. So I wanted to find something else that is FEI legal, because obviously if I'm going to shows and competing, you can't really be on non-FEI approved products. So yeah, that is my plan, that I'm going to try that out properly. He does seem to be quite good on it. I mean, obviously I've not really been able to ride much the last week at all, but he does seem quite chilled in himself, which is good. And I have been weaning him off the Hempine as I'm putting him onto the Buck Off. So yeah, I'll update you and let you know how it goes, because so far I'm quite impressed with it, and it's quite easy to feed, and it seems quite a natural product as well, which I like. It's not got loads of chemicals in it. So yeah, I will let you know how it goes. So yeah, let's see what happens. Oh, I did get myself a new coat, which isn't this because this one is my disgusting old one. But because this has got holes in it and the whole pocket is fallen apart, I wanted a new one just to wear for lessons and stuff. So I bought a mountain horse one, and it came up even cheaper at the till than it said on the label, which I was really amazed about and chuffed about, because that never happens. So yeah, I'll show you a picture of it. It's really nice actually. It has got a bit of a weird hood though, which wasn't great in the storm yesterday, because it doesn't actually cover the top of your head. But I think when you've got a riding hat on, it'd be really nice and snug, and no hood. Obviously it's dangerous riding with a hood that could snag on things if you're hacking. So yeah, that was good, because I have looked at a few different coats. I've got my Equi Dry Shorty, which is lovely, but I'm keeping that for, like, you know, going out to the pub, dog walking and stuff like that. And it's going to be like a non-horse coat that is waterproof for going out shopping or whatever. So yeah, anyway, there we go. So I hope all of you are doing okay with this weather, and I really hope you are not having this horrendous flooding. My heart goes out to any of you that are in a worse position than I am with the flooding, because it is just so stressful, and you know, some people are having to move their horses because the flooding is so bad. So my heart goes out to any of you that are in that situation. I really hope you aren't. And yeah, let's see, it's not been the best start to the new year, but hopefully we'll have some dry weather now, and then we'll be able to crack on with the riding come the middle of January.
Okay, don't judge me for this next bit. Needs must.
Oh, so I've got these ratty old hay bales that aren't very nice from friends of mine. They're just old ones, and what I've done, I'm laying them in like sections, like a grid, and then the plan is to put some carpet over the top, although the carpet still hasn't been delivered, so I might have to put this bit of astroturf over the top temporarily, but hopefully that's just raised the ground level a couple of inches, and now it's drier, it might kind of bed in and make a bit more of a sort of floor. And then in the summer, when I can get a digger in, I'll get the whole lot dug out and try and get the rubber mats out that are buried way underneath now. I can't do it by hand, it's just too much, so temporary measure, hopefully it'll work. It's probably a good thing I didn't collect these earlier in the summer, because on the side of one of them is a very amazing wasp nest, which isn't obviously live now, thankfully. So yeah, anyway, the carpet's on its way, yes, which I'm very excited about. Oh, right, so I've done quite a lot. I've got some more bits of underlay to put down, but that's covered quite a lot of the mud mats. I've just got that back corner to do now, and then once I've put that down, I'm going to put the proper carpet on the top. So yeah, but the underlay, it's a bit old and manky, but it's rubbery, so hopefully it will stop too much water coming up through, is the plan. So yeah, right, that was quite a mission, but anyway, it looks a bit weird at the moment, but I know as soon as the horses have walked over this a few times, which I'm sure they will in a minute when they get all nosy and their dinner's ready, it'll all kind of bed down and look a bit more mud coloured and blend in with the rest of the mud. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to go do their feeds, and hopefully Elf is going to want to actually come into the shelter, because now there's quite a step for him to get up. But yeah, I'm just going to use those few odds and sods just to make a little ramp area to get the wheelbarrow in and out. But yeah, anyway, so thank you to Erin for helping me as well today, and yeah, we'll see how we go with this. It might not work, but at least I've got a base to put some sand on now if I decide to do that instead, and it won't keep just washing away. Well, Lulu's my Forester, she's very brave, she's popped on here quite happily. Elfie was a bit not sure. Right, are you going to come up here, Elfie? You're not sure, babes? It's fine. It's fine. You're going to come in here for your brekkie or dinner? Elfie? Come on, boysy. Come on then. Come on then, you're very brave. Come with Mama? You're going to come up here with Mama? Come on then. Not sure, are you? You coming? I know, it's a bit funny, isn't it? Because it's all squashy.
I had to stop filming because I couldn't do it all with one hand, but I did manage to get him in eventually with his bucket. Right, so yes, we did manage to get Elf into the shelter, but he was a bit unsure. I don't blame him, it's very squishy compared to, well, it's been squishy but wet, but obviously it feels a bit unnatural. They're all very, very interested in the carpet, aren't you? Very interested. And Estrella has just been trying to dig it up, which isn't very helpful. But anyway, I'm sure once the water has come up through it a bit more and they're a bit wetter, they will kind of merge down a bit like the bits that I had before over there. Because once they're wet and heavy and damp, they are a lot, you know, they tend to sort of lie better. So yeah, but anyway, be interesting to see. I might check the camera tonight and see that they're all having a nice little snooze on it. Who knows? They're certainly very interested. So yeah, I'll let you know how my little project goes. And when I checked the camera at about midnight, this is what I found. And unsurprisingly, it's the two Spanish ones having a little childish fight over who can play with the bit of carpet. Anyway, safe to say, I think they've got over their fear of the scary carpet that they have to snort at before they can walk over it. So yeah, but all good. I don't mind them having a little bit of a mess around with it if it gets them used to it, really. I'm sure Elf will have been picking this up with his teeth at some point during the night as well and swinging it around a bit because, you know, he likes to play that game too. So yeah, that's why he got the name Elf, even though it's a really silly name. So this is kind of working. I really needed just one big piece of carpet rather than several little bits. But now he's got used to it, feeling a bit spongy under his feet. He's actually quite happy in there, and he just hates the mud so much. I'm sure it's an improvement on standing in the silt that was there before. So yeah, we'll see how we go with that one. I might have to take it all out again, but give it a few days. So yeah, this is the new slabs of hay. So slabs of mouldy old hay covered with carpet on top, and this is where Elf comes in. He's always supervised, he never comes in here alone. It's always when I am here to feed him. And yes, at least it's now dry underfoot, and now that the slabs have started to sort of bed in and mesh together a bit, the carpet is sitting a bit better, and he's actually really quite happy in here. He's got used to the feel of the carpet against his feet if it moves slightly, and he's not worried now because he's realised, because they've been playing with the carpet outside here as well, and you know, he's fine with it now. It's almost like a game. So yeah, all good. I'm quite happy with it. It's definitely a temporary measure. I wouldn't really advise it unless you're in an absolute urgent situation like I was with a flooded shelter, but it's better than nothing. Just to finish off this episode, I will show you the Buck Off Karma that we are trying out. I have paid full price for this, so it's a completely unbiased and honest review. So this is the Buck Off, which is the Karma sort of, they call it a nootropic calming blend. This is what I've been trialling for Elf. So the timing has not been great because I started him on it, only managed to ride him once, I think, since he started on it because of the storms and my lesson getting cancelled and everything. Well, the shoe getting lost and not being able to do my lesson. So I haven't really tested it out properly, but he does seem quite happy in himself, and so far so good. It's got, this is what it looks like. It's almost sort of like it looks like a liqueur, and it smells, it's because it's got passion flower in it, it smells like a sort of heavy fruity wine, I would say. It's got that kind of scent to it, but he's very happy to eat it. It's not a huge dose, it's just 2 of these pumps, and you know, it's quite a big bottle, but that's 10 ml twice a day he has of that. So yeah, I've put his dose down to half because I'm obviously not riding at the moment, and I thought I'll just keep a little bit in his system, but then I'll up it to the full dose again by the end of the week. And I've been weaning him off hempine CBD, which is he's been on that on and off for a while, because it's not competition legal, and that's the only reason I'm trying out the Buck Off, because this is FEI legal. So I wanted to find another option that would work for us if we're competing. So yeah, but obviously hempine is always great, and I have my thoroughbred on that for her arthritis, and it is brilliant. So anyway, so yeah, that's Buck Off. I will let you know how I'm getting on with it. So this is the first canter that Elf has had since before Christmas, and all he'd done the day before this was a little walk and trot in the field with Thea helping me after his shoe was put back on. And yeah, other than that, he's not been ridden for 10 days. So I was quite nervous about going for this lesson, but he was really good. He felt really rideable. He felt concentrated, and he was not spooking, which was good. He had a couple of little spooks, but not like some of the ones we were getting before Christmas. So yeah, maybe this Buck Off is working. I will do another update, but yeah, I'm happy with it so far. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed watching the vlog, and if you would like to be notified of future episodes, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.